to start off prayer and pledge. Those that would like to participate, our prayer will be led by Councilman Copeland, and the pledge will be led by Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
If you'd like to participate, please bow your head. Gracious Father, we thank you this evening for your goodness and your mercy. We thank you for your continuous wisdom and knowledge that you have blessed us with. Father, we ask this evening that as we go throughout this council meeting tonight, that you will continue to grace us with your wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, that we will continue to make the decisions that are not only for ourselves, but for our community, that we will have a community focus tonight, that all things done tonight will be to benefit our community and bring prosperous income and change and just greatness to our community. Father, we ask, oh God, even as we meet tonight and as our hearts and our community are preparing for the Memorial Cup, we ask, oh God, that your angels and grace continue to be with us and cover us, as this is an opportunity for our great city to be seen in the great light that we are as a great community to live in, to play in, and to abide in. So, Father, we thank you for your mercy, your grace, and wisdom, and we pray this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen and amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Sylvia.
Present.
Councilmember Williams is absent. Councilmember Balls.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Present.
Councilmember Ostache.
Present.
Councilmember Garcia.
Present.
Councilmember Flores.
Present.
Councilmember Copeland.
Present.
And Mayor Moore.
Present.
We have 8 members present and 1 absent.
I'd like to take this time out to welcome each and every one of you for coming to our city council meeting. I ask that you refrain from booing, clapping, and any obnoxious behavior. No booing, and right now I want to ask all of the council persons to please put their phones and electronic devices on silent. Audience, I ask that you do the same thing, please. Madam Clerk, do we have any announcements?
We have one. It's the city offices will be closed Monday, May 27th in observance of Memorial Day. And we have a proclamation on the agenda. It's declaring May 25th, 2024 as Theodore Retke Day.
Do we have any representatives of the Retke family? Yes, we do. Can you please come to the podium? The proclamation will be read by Councilman Ostache.
Good evening. City of Saginaw Proclamation. Whereas Theodore Retke, a famous poet, was born May 25th, 1908, and died August 1st, 1963. And whereas Theodore's birthplace, 1805 Gratiot Avenue in the city of Saginaw, is maintained as a museum in his honor. And whereas Theodore attended the University of Michigan, earning an AB and an MA degrees, and briefly attended law school before entering Harvard University. The Great Depression caused Theodore to leave school. Theodore then taught English at several universities, including Lafayette College, Pennsylvania State University, Bennington College, and the University of Washington. And whereas Theodore also taught at Michigan State University in East Lansing. During this time, he became a well-known poet and author. And whereas Theodore continued writing poetry and books, which resulted in receiving a Pulitzer Prize, 2 National Book Awards, and a Bullingen Prize, amongst many other honorable awards. And whereas Theodore's legacy remains strong in the city of Saginaw, his final resting place as his remains are interred at Saginaw's Oakwood Cemetery. And whereas in April 2012, the United States Postal Service dedicated a postage stamp in honor of Theodore Retke, the Retke Forever stamp. And whereas Theodore once was quoted as saying, "A lively, understandable spirit once entertained you. It will come again. Be still, wait." As we proudly honor this magnificent individual, we know the wait is over, as he is before us and will continue to entertain us through his poetry and writings. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Brenda F. Moore, Mayor, City of Saginaw, hereby proclaim May 25th, 2024 as Theodore Retke Day in the city of Saginaw, and call upon the citizens of the community to reflect on and honor the life of this brilliant individual. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Saginaw to be affixed this 20th day of May in the year of our Lord 2024. Signed, Brenda F. Moore, Mayor. Council members Annie E. Bench, Mayor Pro Tem, Michael D. Balls, George Copeland Jr., Michael Flores, Priscilla Garcia, Monique Lamar Sylvia, Bill Ostash, and Reggie Williams II, and Timothy Morales, the city manager. There you go. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you so much. I'm Sharon Francis, the current board president of the Friends of the Theodore Rethke Foundation, and I'm joined today with Annie Ransford, our founder and corresponding secretary over here. For 25 years, the Rethke Foundation has been promoting, protecting, and preserving the literary legacy of our Saginaw native Pulitzer Prize-winning poet. We have over 120 members, and so far this year we've organized 18 events, the biggest of which was our first ever poetry retreat here in Saginaw. Thanks to a Michigan Arts and Culture grant, we hosted 25 poets from 13 different cities around Michigan for 3 days of writing workshops, open mics, and networking, and general rabble-rousing. Throughout the year, we provide a platform for local and regional writers to share their work, give scholarly talks, and host writing workshops. We stream most of these events live from the Rethke House, so we give local writers national exposure. And we also host fully virtual events, putting national writers, scholars, and artists in touch with our community. We offer a writing club, a poetry reading club, drop-in hours in the house, open mic events, historic tours, and more. Our board of 11 people is especially committed to making poetry accessible to Saginaw youth. And in the summer, we typically work with 50 to 100 children on site as part of our Child on Top of a Greenhouse summer camp. We engage in writing and reading and making books and digging in the garden and thinking about what it means to work with words. We partner with Joyce Seals' New Christ Community Church, Houghton Jones Neighborhood Association, and the Saginaw Public Libraries. We're working on some really cool new collaborations with the Saginaw Freedom Schools, Inside Out Literary Arts, and the Reed Association. And finally, we have 2 events this week that I would like to invite you to. Anybody here is welcome to come. On Thursday, we have a spoken word poetry workshop, and on Saturday, May 25th, Theodore Rethke Day, we are celebrating 4 members who recently published books of original poetry. You can find details at friendsofrethke.org. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, and we are so proud to be part of the Saginaw community and part of keeping our city on the literary map. Thank you so much for this recognition.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we are now at public hearings.
The purpose of the public hearing is for the public to address the council as a whole and for council to hear your comments and to speak and what you're speaking about. The speaker is limited to his remarks to the subject at hand of the public hearing. Please state your name, say if you support or in opposition. The main speaker it will be the representative, and they have 10 minutes. All other speakers behind have 3. Madam Clerk.
Our first is regarding the request from Hamilton Street Real Estate LLC for an obsolete property rehabilitation exemption certificate at 122 South Hamilton Street.
Do we have anyone who would like to speak on their behalf?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city manager. My name is Tom Miller. I'm the Executive Vice President for Saginaw Future with the Economic Development Agency for the City of Saginaw and the County of Saginaw. I'll just be really brief. Last meeting you approved the formation of the district. It's a 2-part process. First, you form the district for an OPRA, Obsolete Property Rehabilitation Act exemption, and this public hearing is to approve the certificate, which is the actual exemption in this case. I think the project is located on Hamilton Street, the southeast corner of Adams and Hamilton. It used to be a Catholic resale shop, and it's been vacant for a number of years. You already heard about the project. It will house an ice cream company, which is a good addition to Old Town, and then professional office space on the second and third floors. The reason why these incentives are important, I think, is in this project, for instance, a lion's share of the cost went into the installation of an elevator shaft. So to make it ADA compliant and usable for the tenants, they had to completely build a new elevator shaft and install an elevator into the building, which was about a quarter of the cost of the entire project. This incentive helps to offset some of those costs, and I'm here to answer questions during the approval of the resolution if you have some. Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak on this subject? Is there anyone else to speak on this subject? Last and final time, is there anyone else who'd like to speak to this subject? I need a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
It's been moved in support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Our next public hearing is regarding the fiscal year 2024-2025 proposed budget and property tax millage.
Is there anyone that would like to speak to this matter? Is there anyone who would like to speak to this matter? Last and final time, is there anyone who'd like to speak to this matter? I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Our next public hearing is regarding the special assessment district for a police and fire millage for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this subject? Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this subject? Last and final time. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this subject? I need a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved, motion to second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Our final public hearing is regarding the Downtown Development Authority district millage to be levied on properties within the district.
Is there anyone here to speak to this subject? Is there anyone here to speak to this subject? Last and final time. Is there anyone here to speak to this subject? I need a motion to close this hearing.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Takes us to public input.
When you approach the podium, I need you to speak clearly and do not direct any of your comments directly to any council member that is standing up front. You have 3 minutes. The clerk will call you to the podium. Please get everything you need to say in within those 3 minutes. Madam Clerk.
Our first speaker is Melanie Velasco.
Hello, thank you. There's still people residing in 908 Court Street, and I'm slowly trying to get all of my belongings out there. My ex-husband, he's been having chest pain, so he can't help anymore. It's not easy being homeless with 2 cats, just saying. I'm a little dirty today. My tire got a screw in it, and I asked a couple of really nice city workers, and one, I think his name was Mike, and then they did try to help me, and then one guy, he did give me some air. That was very nice. I do believe he was a city worker. Said scenic something, I don't know what. Anyway, that was that gentleman. I thank God for him. Anyway, my other complaints is my sister lives off of Hess on Lowell. She's working on making it nice. And down Lowell Street, often in some of the side streets of Saginaw, People will leave those basketball rims out there. Now, I really love the fact that children are playing basketball. I love the fact we're seeing children outside. That's got to be the ultimate. I just love children. Anyway, but 2 times on Lowell, I've almost hit these basketball rims because they're right like in a really dark spot. And so I asked one of the neighbors, love thy neighbor, could you go over there and ask them to move that? Because I've almost hit it twice. Well, you go tell her. She seems like, no, I don't, well, this ain't my block. I'm not gonna go out of my, whatever, just other people, whatever, have this issue. Other thing is, I think, Saginaw could really use little homes. See, I have 2 cats. I can't go to a motel. I can't go, and these cats are my medical companion, okay? I'm getting better. I'm getting really, really, but so much stuff's in my head. My 10-year marriage wasn't great. I'm still a big mouth, something or another, blank. And it's just, that stuff is still in the attic. I'm working on it, but that's what my cats are there for. They're really good. One got out, gone for hours. I didn't go for, anyway, he's back. I need these cats. Okay. Second was that I said, I forget now what I said. Put on that paper, remember, I'm sorry, but I slept in my van last night, but it was okay. At my ex's, of course, I was called names. What am I doing here? Well, the way I see it, I didn't get nothing out of the divorce. And I said, this piece of land, I can come anytime I want. I don't care what, go ahead, go tell somebody, I don't care. I'm stranded, I'm homeless, you got 2 condemned homes. You don't got room for your ex-wife. Okay, fine. Anyway, let's drop that subject. God bless America. I love you guys. Just try to do what you can about the
Thank you,
issues,
Ms.
little homes. It would be appreciated because I have 2 medical companions.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Our next speaker is Rochelle LaFoon.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor Moore, council members, and city managers. My name is Reverend Rochelle LaFoon, and I will be a site coordinator at Bethel AME Church for the Mr. Charles L. McNair Freedom School Saginaw this summer. The Saginaw African Cultural Festival is the fiduciary for the Freedom School, and therefore I am here tonight on behalf of its president, Ralph Martin, vice president, Alexis Thomas, secretary, Janice Moore, treasurer, Karen Lawrence Webster, and assistant treasurer, John Turner. Freedom School is a national summer school program that engages students K through 12 in a culturally rich way and promotes the joy of reading. We will serve 100 scholars at Bethel AME Church, New Life Ministries, and Victorious Believers in partnership with the Charles L. McNair Booker T. Washington Student Development Foundation, Saginaw Valley State University, Michigan State University Extension, and many others. As with any first-year summer school, we have several operational needs that will be sustained in the future by Michigan education grants and rigorous fundraising efforts. But for this year, we need your assistance. Our request includes a $285 per scholar franchise cost that includes books and training, computers, and age-appropriate furniture and supplies. Enrichment and field trips with cultural relevance is the cornerstone of Freedom School, and therefore funds will be used for that purpose also. Our 6-day training will take place in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we are excited that we have 10 servant leader interns, college students from Saginaw who attend Saginaw Valley and Delta College, 3 site coordinators, and our project director who will be attending that training. Freedom School will answer the call to provide summer learning for our K through 12 scholars and employment for our servant leader interns, and we look forward to your continued support of the Saginaw African Cultural Festival and the Charles L. McNair Freedom School of Saginaw. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kanika Owen Robinson.
Good evening,
Good
Mayor
evening.
Moore,
Mayor
evening.
Pro Tem Bench, council, city staff, mayor, and the city manager, Mr. Morales. Good evening. I just wanted to stop by. I sent out an invitation for some council to come and visit the facilities and see what is going on at the NABE with the ARPA dollars that we so gratefully received. But I just wanted to give you a brief overview, because I know everybody's scheduled, we can't all get out, but the NABE is providing educational, recreational, and social-emotional support to children and youth outside of the regular school hours, so after school, out of school time. Our program focuses on academic support, enrichment and skill development, social and emotional well-being, community engagement, and healthy living. Over the past, I wrote this and it said 9 months, that time has flown by. It has been like 10 or 11 months. And I feel we've made significant progress. We have been running for 156 days, and that during that time we did tutoring, homework assistant, ACT, SAT prep for students. Some of our workshops included creative writing, visual arts, gardening, etiquette, debate, soul food storytelling, and hosting STEM activities, which even included our neighbors and our friends, First Ward, comprised of First Ward students. We have multiple partnerships with local organizations, and we host events such as the Family Wellness Expo, Harvest Fest, Family Night, Pancakes, and Storytime with Santa. Again, looking at our impact, we had 153 students attending, with an average of about 25 students daily. We're working on that, and we're doing a little bit of customer service, reaching out to students, understanding what is it, and stressing the importance of the students being there every day to the parents. In terms of the capital improvement, we're really excited. As I said, the building is pretty much upside down right now because of all the work that's going on. But we have so far updated our bathrooms so that they are ADA compliant. We have updated the LED lighting, replaced the roof. The HVACs have been ordered and will be installed in June. Our flooring to have clean, wipeable surfaces has been begun. Our kitchen renovation, so that we are able to start, the soup kitchen is being renovated. Our security enhancements have begun as well. So again, I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you to you all, and we look forward to you coming to visit us once all of this capital improvement is completed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, we're now at remarks of council.
Council members, you have 3 minutes as well. We will start tonight with Councilman Ball.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to thank the citizens for coming out to the city council meeting this evening and expressing your concerns and your hope for the city. I have hope, too, for the city of Saginaw, especially this summer. Everybody knows when things get a little warm outside, we do have some issues in the city of Saginaw, but I'm praying and hoping that we don't have any issues this summer with crime. I know it's a big hope, but I'm going to pray for it. And I want to thank all the community centers for doing what they're doing, and the churches for getting involved with the students this summer. Everybody know, well, I know for a fact, when community centers died, unfortunately, the kids in the city of Saginaw died more. And now that Obama had put this ARPA money in our community because of COVID, well, maybe it wasn't Obama, but anyway.
To skip the other guy.
I couldn't think of nobody no better, you know what I'm saying? So I know for a fact that this money will do something good for our communities. Knowing that we had the community centers open again, we got summer reading programs coming up, and it got to help our community out. We know that alcohol and drugs have wreaked havoc on our community to the point where we don't have fatherless homes, single-parent homes. And maybe with the community centers, we can start mentoring our children to start doing things that's more positive here in the city of Saginaw. And like I said, I'm hoping and praying for this to happen, and I will be actively doing things in the community to try to help out too. I've been in the Big Brothers and Sisters program for 30-something years, as most of you know, because I keep bringing it up, probably because I want you to be a big brother or big sister too, because I know that mentoring do work. So I'm just going to pray and hope that everything go good for the city of Saginaw this year. And thank you guys for being here and being concerned about the city of Saginaw. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Ostash.
Thanks, Mayor. Welcome, everybody, tonight, for those watching at home and in the chamber. Ms. Kanika, thanks for coming out and sharing some of that update with us. I do apologize because our schedules got a little mixed up the first time, but we did get together. I did get a chance to come out there, did get a chance to meet some of the students and the kids that are in the program, and they got a chance to meet me. So one of the council members responsible for helping out that building. And you're right, you're doing a lot of great renovations, and it looked fantastic. Just something else, thanks to other public speakers that came out tonight, but also, I just want to say thank you to the citizens of our city. We did a team up to clean up, which we do every year. We've been doing for a few years now. But just seeing everybody on social media talking about it and the excitement, it just made me feel real warm inside this weekend. And I don't know, I just made some notes on that. So I want to say thank you to all the citizens of the city for just pitching in, always coming up and helping out whenever we need you, and just doing everything on a daily basis, because there's a lot of other things that I see our residents that are doing out there making a positive impact on Saginaw. Also, I was able to attend the police department's annual awards ceremony this year. Great event. We are always honoring our fallen here in Saginaw that have served, that gave the ultimate price for our city, but also we recognize civilian staff and our officers as well. So I want to congratulate Jeremy Holden as Officer of the Year, and also our civilian staff member, Tammy, if I'm saying this right, Phil Pick. And congratulations to a friend of mine, Steve Lautner, who was promoted to sergeant. There is, I want to make an announcement that there is a zoning ordinance rewrite workshop coming up. This is going to be June 4th from 5 to 7 p.m. here in the council chambers. This is, at the after effects of the master plan. Now we're in the zoning process and they're going to make some of the changes that are in the master plan, but they'll be focusing on the Riverfront District, the Cathedral District, talking about mixed-use development, form, and design. So I've heard folks in the community talking about our zoning in the past, so this will be a time to come in and sit in and hear what is going to be taking place. And that is all I have tonight, Mayor. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Garcia.
Good afternoon, concerned citizens of the community. Thank you for all attending this chilly evening in here. Last time it was a little warm, but can't complain, I'm freezing, but anyhow. Just wanted to say this is the week start off of the Memorial Cup, so an exciting time for the city of Saginaw to make a great impact within these next 2 weeks. I'm excited, even though I'm not a big hockey fan, but I mean, it's fun, you know. We got visitors coming from out of town, so I know that it's been cleaning up the city really nice. And just remember to utilize all your small businesses that'll be around in the area. I can't wait for the outcome, to see the remarks and that from the outcome of it. It's gonna be an exciting time, and there's money to be made for everybody, and hopefully player prices. Tomorrow too, they're gonna be giving out, at the Saginaw Spirit Store, Tuesday from 9 to 12, they're gonna give out the free flags you can put on your car, 2 per family. So if you get a chance to go on State Street, kind of by Timbers, you can get some of those. I'm gonna try to make it down there to get a couple flags for my car, so if you see me riding around, I'm gonna be representing. And then also tomorrow at the Saginaw CAC, they're having a community resource fair, and it is from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., and it's gonna be at the GLB Saginaw Michigan Works Building, 312 East Genesee. And they're gonna have a variety of different resources there for you, such as early on, let me see, MSU Extension, Wellspring, Saginaw ISD, Maternal Infant Health, CAC Housing Commission Rescue Mission. So sounds like there's a lot going on there, so I'm gonna try to take a stop by over there and see what they got going on. It's always great to have good resources available, and of course, I'm always sharing the different food giveaways that are going on. So what is it? It is also the, trying to think of the 211. They have where you can call to get resources if you're in need of food. We all know that the kids will be coming out of school and they're gonna wanna eat. They're not gonna be in school anymore. So you want to make sure to utilize those services that are available for them. And of course, the East Side Soup Kitchen is always a great place for them to go. And just want to say, the prom looked really nice. I seen all the Arthur Hill students, and it was really nice seeing all of them. Brought back old memories, and tonight, I'm alumni from Heritage High School. They graduate tonight. So congratulations to class of 2024 and our future leaders of our community. And just want to say thank you all for coming. Have a good night and enjoy the Memorial Cup, and can't wait to see everybody's pictures and have a really good time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. To the folks that came to accept the Theater of Art Marquee proclamation, I used to work as a writing center tutor at Delta and SVSU, and they really pushed his poems on us. So if you haven't heard or read the Saginaw song and In a Dark Place, those are two really great poems. I think In a Dark Place starts, in a dark place, the eye begins to see, I meet my shadow in the deepening shade, and what madness but the nobility of soul. So he's really in tune with what Saginaw is all about. So check him out, he's really great. I don't have too much outside of that. There's a lot going on. The flyers can tell it better than I can, so make sure you grab all your informational flyers for the upcoming Memorial Cup. I'm excited to participate in that. And then and this kind of goes back to what Councilmember Balls had said, we are going to be getting an update from Chief Ruth after we've gotten through the budget and other important things to kind of concentrate on. But for the summer uptick in the past, there's been an uptick in violence, and especially gun violence. So everyone be safe, be careful. I kind of look at this Memorial Cup as part of transitioning into something better. That's the point of In a Dark Place at the end. But if anybody has any information on Keyshawn Banks, Quan Lee, Quay Smithers, Mario Bulger, Pamela Whitson, Ryan Clemens, Roy Whitson III, Cortez Hampton, Mazzy Redditon, Jonathan Lamar Van, Ronald Pacheco, DeLance D. Stevens, T.Z. Thomas, or Tyrone Kennedy, please call. And these are all folks that were gunned down in the last year and a half. Please call 1-800-422-5245 if you have any information that could lead to an arrest of their murder. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Copeland.
Cheerio, mates. Welcome.
Cheerio.
Glad to be back in the States. And good evening to our speakers who shared this evening. I was in London. That's why I missed our last council meeting. I was in London for work. But it's glad to be back. I want to say congratulations to our Saginaw High Arthur Hill graduates. This is a very historic moment you all are experiencing. Enjoy it. Embrace it. I also want to mention something about our speakers that are here, Freedom School. I'm really excited, and I think about one thing Councilman Ball said about, I hope we have a good summer. Sunday I was at a service, and the speaker was talking about there's 3 stages before you get to faith. There's a hope, there is a believe, and then there's a know. Yes. And so there's I hope things get better, I believe things get better, and I know things are going to get better. And so I'm kind of in this state of faith where I know we're going to have a safe and prosperous summer. Mm-hmm. I know that Saginaw will succeed, and I know that because of this Memorial Cup, it is going to open continuous doors for the city of Saginaw. So I am excited about all the things that are taking place and going on here right now. The other thing is these students, Miss Kanika came and shared about what's going on at the Nave, and I'm a little jealous because I like to dance, but I can't dance like who they have coming. They have one of the choreographers for Beyonce and Rihanna coming to do dance classes at the Nave, and we are on the top. We on top. Beyonce's folks is coming to Saginaw. So you guys, this is going to be a really great summer. And then we have Coach Lou Dawkins coming to do a summer camp. I am a little jealous because I can't get my sons in there, but I'm excited that these things are going on in our community this summer. we are going to have a great summer for our young people. This is going to be a safe environment, and there's going to be a lot of things to do for not only our young people, but that missing middle. I really do believe and I know that what we need and what we've been looking for is coming to our city. We have kept the faith, and we're there. We're moving forward. And so that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Sylvia
Thank you so much.
at the end of the corner by herself.
I'm lonely. Now, first of all, I'd like to say thank you all so much for coming to your city council meeting this evening and spending time with us. And I must say, thank you for the clergy that are here today. I would be remiss not to recognize the clergy in the room. Thank you so much. I feel a certain kinship, of course, to the clergy. It's a different feeling. Sometimes you feel that anointing. It just, I don't know, and then our council person down on the end, I was like, okay, what's getting ready to happen in here? You get excited. But I won't keep the time. I appreciate all the speakers this evening. I definitely like to go to the youth centers. I go to the NABE. I like to do the drive-bys when they don't expect it. They always doing something. I love to engage with Ms. Pugh and the young people at all the youth centers and just get busy and just run my mouth. Y'all know I love to talk. But anyway, I'm not going to do that tonight. So thank you so very much. You all have a great day. And kudos to our young people. They've been graduating and prom, and it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. So we have to give them kudos when they deserve it. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next, we have Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening to everyone. Thank you to our public speakers. I'm very excited to hear all of the wonderful things that are going to be happening over the summer with the Freedom School and Ms. Owen Robinson, I'm sorry, Ms. Kanika. I'm just very grateful to you and all the good work you're doing over at the NABE. I've had a couple opportunities to come over before we were able to allocate the ARPA funds, and we could tell that there was something good happening there, and I'm so glad we were able to do that and able to invest in those kids over there and the wonderful things you're doing. I want to thank not just the citizens who volunteered and showed up for the Team Up to Clean Up, but I really want to thank our businesses that came out on Friday and all of our staff who were there, who facilitated it. It wouldn't be a success without our volunteers showing up, but it would definitely not be a success if we didn't have a committed group of staff members who were willing to help, from the fire department to code enforcement to our director of development. It was just a wonderful community-driven organization operation, and it's just very nice that we have that opportunity to do that once a year. And thanks to our mayor for being the one who inspired that event to happen for so many years here. And as far as the Memorial Cup, it's very exciting. In addition to all the wonderful things that we have going on, we have some legacy projects that are going to be here and remain after the Memorial Cup is gone. So we have a food truck park that's going to be of benefit to all of our local small businesses. We have a statue, I believe, that is being unveiled at some point here in the near future. That's going to be a feature down there. And then we have the unveiling of the Henry Marsh mural underneath the overpass. So there's just some really wonderful things that are happening here that aren't just going to be gone and fleeting after the 10 days of fun have occurred. But it is really, I think, we talk about problems and symptoms of problems, and I think that these are positive symptoms of things that are to be, and that this is an offshoot of the momentum that Saginaw has been long overdue for. But I also want to thank the public school district and our union partners and congratulate all of our graduates. I'm a little, it's a little personal to me because my son is part of the last graduating class over at Saginaw High. And I just want to thank them all for getting up all the banners for all the kids across town. If you haven't had a chance to make sure you go around, I'm sure that if one of your family members or friends aren't up there, you're going to know one of these shining stars that are up there. But I just want to thank them for that, and I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Last but not least, let me start off by saying this. I truly want to thank the community. From last Saturday all the way till Friday, people have been cleaning up this city. I said, we got company coming, And this, remind me of my mother. I didn't even miss her this week because we were cleaning up the neighborhood. And I want to personally thank everyone, all my council persons for supporting me, all of the workers for supporting. And I need people to understand, it is not my project. It is our project. We want people to know we want to live like human beings. So we clean our house up. This is no different than what you do when you were young. I know we couldn't go outside on Saturdays till we did the chores. Don't get out of school. When school ended, wash windows. You couldn't move. Iron them clothes. We had chores. I had young people here this year. I had Covenant Academy. I had Saginaw United's football team. And I had Mustard Seed, Underground Railroad. I had people who I didn't even think cared came. It was just exciting. I'm excited about the Memorial Cup. Trying to get well so I don't get sicker, but I'm excited. I'm really excited that we all are pitching in and we all see a new Saginaw. What do we need to do? We just need to keep on praying. My councilmen, they talked about earlier about things that we needed to do and things for the youth. Can nobody say that there's not anything to do in this city? Because if you do, you need to be in my shoes. Because there's something to do every weekend. It's something to do every day in this city. It may not be what you want to do, but there is stuff to do. So I just want to thank the community. I did a little traveling this week. I'm excited about the outcome that we haven't seen yet. But I went going to get. I'm hoping that I bring it back. There's a great big difference when you love what you do. It's not about the money for me. It's about building my city. Key word. Our city. It's about making us get on the map. We've got the Memorial Cup coming. Can you imagine that? We're going to have so many people up in this place. They already started coming in. I was told today that they started picking up people from the airport this morning. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. See, I'm obedient. I'm truly obedient.
Mayor, that
Madam
takes
Clerk.
us to reports from the manager.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a few presentations this evening, but some items before that. And this announcement was done a while ago. The city did their work, so we were waiting on a contract with the state. But the city of Saginaw finalized the certified designation renewal process to maintain the certification as a redevelopment-ready community, Economic Development Commission. And if you recall, Saginaw was only the 32nd community to be certified under the statewide Redevelopment Ready Communities program in 2019. So we've maintained all of the requirements for that, which requires you to streamline your development process, transparency, predictability, and efficiency in those economic development practices. The city of Saginaw utilized the RRC toolkit to leverage better planning, zoning, and economic development principles. The best practices of the RRC program provided the city with a solid framework to move forward and increase development in the downtown area. So the coordinators for that program are Yolanda Bland and Cassie Zimmerman. So congratulations to them and their teams for obtaining that certification. So there've been a lot more communities certified, but again, we were one of the first, and I think we were the second in our region. So great job by them initially. Well, actually, Yolanda and her team initially, and now the recertification. The splash pad is going to open on next Saturday, May 25th. It'll be open from 11 to 7 every day. And again, want to thank all of the department heads and division heads and the OMB office, Yolanda and her staff, on the budget development on the agenda this evening. Good job by them, and it's a lot of work to get that put together every year. And We also have a resolution number 2 on the agenda this evening, which will establish Barrie, Ontario as Saginaw's newest sister city. Barrie is in central Ontario, about 56 miles north of Toronto. It's similar to Saginaw in that they have a local university, Georgian College, an OHL affiliate, the Barrie Colts, and a diverse manufacturing base. Having the proximity of Barrie to Saginaw will allow us to have more frequent exchanges between the two communities. They plan to work with Saginaw Valley State University, the Saginaw school systems, the City of Saginaw staff and administration, as well as the councils, the two councils for the cities. We have a delegation from Barrie who will be visiting Saginaw next week during the Memorial Cup. And several council members have been involved in this planning with Barrie, and we'll have some events planned next week, so we'll let you all know what's going on. I think their mayor will be here, but he will be here for one day. We'll have official signing here in council chambers next week as well in the morning. And hopefully they'll be able to get some tickets to a Memorial Cup Day game. We're working on that. But I wanted to point out with the Memorial Cup, if you've seen this, I'm sure you have the hare hunt that will be going on. That is something that a Saginaw County Board of Commissioners member brought to me, the idea. So he's been working with Cassie Zimmerman on putting that together. And if you look at the number of organizations or businesses involved, they have over $10,000 in donations for prizes for that. So if you want to encourage your friends and family to go out and look for the hares that are around the area and report that back and get into the drawings for some of those prizes. Prizes are intended to try to bring people back to our area after the Memorial Cup, so hopefully they'll see things they like here, and then we'll come back to visit the city and our entire region when it's done. And I do want to take a moment to thank all the volunteers that did come out for Team Up to Clean Up. There were probably over 200 between the two dates. I know there were over 130, 40, or 50 last Friday. And it's great seeing a lot of the organizations had their T-shirts on representing. So that was great to see as well. And finally, the police awards ceremony. Congratulations to our Officer of the Year, Jeremy Holden, and all of the officers that won awards. And I believe the Civilian of the Year's name is Filipiak. So congratulations to her as well. And with that, we do have 2 presentations this evening. As I mentioned, we have first we've been referring to the report card, so we have an update on the American Rescue Plan Act funds. Mr. Marcel Evans is here. He's a senior consultant with Guidehouse, and he's our interim project manager. And he has the rest of his team here as well. So, Marcel, you should have received the presentation earlier today.
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to present. Again, my name is Marcel Evans, and I just want to provide you with a roadmap of this discussion this evening. I'm going to reintroduce you to the Guidehouse team. We're going to talk briefly about Guidehouse. We're going to provide an overview of ARPA timeline, some dates that should be top of mind for folks. Can provide a subrecipient update, the new allocations, the newest allocations of grantees. Then we're going to go into an overview of currently funded projects, and then we'll close with internal projects. So Claire Wilkie is the project manager for this. She is on leave of absence. I am filling in as the interim project manager. My colleague Andrew is providing subject matter expertise support as needed. Just a high-level overview of Guidehouse. We have expertise in affordable housing, energy, public sector, program administration, financial services, and grant management and technology. We've also provided support to the state of Michigan, Wayne County, Detroit, and the city of Warren. Of course, we have the pleasure of working with Saginaw as well. Just a high-level overview of the ARPA timeline. There's just 2 dates that I want to call out. December 31st, 2024. Projects must be obligated by this date. This is what we're working towards, and this presentation will go into that a little bit further. And then December 31st, 2026, all ARPA funding must be expended by this date. We're now going to talk through the latest allocations. These are the 6 grantees that have been granted funding, starting with the African Cultural Festival. The folks there are in the process of finalizing their budget. The East Side Soup Kitchen, they have completed a risk assessment. My team will go and review that and develop a monitoring plan. The Lawn Chair Festival, they're in the process of finalizing cost projections. Major chords for minors and stars, the city is in the process of reviewing those plans. And then the Youth Protection Council, we're working to finalize that beneficiary agreement. This is a high-level overview of the projects that are currently in progress. We're going to go into detail about each one of these in subsequent slides. Big Brothers and Big Sisters, this is a success story for the city. This program has fully drawn down their ARPA allocation. Funding was dispersed June of 2023, and that was a hardship agreement. So this project is completely funded. The Boys and Girls Club, I think as council is aware, this organization has been seeking to expand their current site. However, their location is in a flood zone, and any planned expansions cannot exceed 50% of the value of the current building. They're currently working with an appraiser to assess the value of not only the current structure, but the planned structure as well. We anticipate once they're over that hurdle, funding will commence. First Ward, they have drawn down about 33% of their ARPA allocations with 4 funding requests to date. They also have a funding request of $43,000 in the pipeline, so they're doing a good job of spending down their funds as well. Friends of Point Park, this is another success story for the city. This project is nearly complete, and a ribbon cutting ceremony is scheduled to take place on May 31st at 1 p.m. The Houghton Jones Neighborhood Association, they have spent about 44% of their funding to date. In 2 requests, no issues or concerns here with this organization. The Mexican American Council, or MAC, they're also doing a great job spending down their funding. They're anticipating another funding request in June of $155,000, 130 dedicated to capital, and $25,000 to programming. The NABE has also done a good job spending down their ARPA allocation. They have drawn down about 80% of that with 3 funding requests to date. No concerns from our perspective with regards to this grantee. The Public Libraries of Saginaw, this project has been completely drawn down with the 1 request. I know Maria is anticipating purchasing these supplies in July, so no concerns here with this project as well. The Saginaw Community Action Committee is also doing a great job spending down their allocation. They have drawn down about 37%. They have also just submitted a request for asphalt repavement. That's about $49,000 of funding, which is not captured here, so no concerns there with this grantee as well. Saginaw Food Club, they have drawn about $260,000. They've spent 170 of that. They're in the process of looking at floor plan revisions. Construction is slated to start in mid-September, so no concerns from our perspective with regards to this project and ARPA spend out. Women of Colors, although it says 27%, I know the city just dispersed about roughly $200,000 for the purchase of their new building. That's going to close, I believe, this week. So this is pretty near completed. So another positive story there with this grantee. YEARN, or Youth Employment and Recreational Network, they were allocated $2.1 million. They were advanced $510,000. We were able to, through documentation, we were able to confirm about $92,000 worth of expenditures. Yes, that's all I have. I think I'm going to pause here to see if there's any questions before we move on to internal projects.
Madam Mayor?
I'm sorry. Yes.
May I have a definition for how you all see unconfirmed? Is it that they just don't have the documents, or is it that it doesn't fit federal? And the reason, because when we get lower down, there's a particular organization that I contacted, and they weren't even aware that they were going to be listed on this. So can I get information on what is unconfirmed?
Unconfirmed means we were unable to confirm that expense, whether that is through documentation or whatever. That's just something that we're not able to confirm that it's eligible. So,
Can I ask a follow-up? So when it comes down to the eligibility, we're looking at the federal guidelines, and we can't confirm the eligibility because someone from the federal government cannot confirm it?
it's more from a documentation standpoint.
Can you give me a little bit more on that one? Because if the federal government gave us saying this is what is approved or what is allocated, is it saying that their documentation doesn't align with the federal government, and that is why Guidehouse says it?
Correct.
I asked my two questions, so I can ask them.
You can't ask no more. You can. Anybody else have any questions?
I'm good right now.
Thus far?
I'm good right now.
I'd like to give my questions to Councilman Copeland.
Well, you see me looking back down there, but I want to give everybody a chance. Yes. Yes, Councilman Flores.
With the reporting aspect, touching on what Councilman Copeland had said, what the issues of eligibility fall under what portion of the final rules? Is it public health and safety portion, right?
Sorry.
So just looking at the specific rules of eligibility, where would I go to?
I think there's a couple places you can go. You can go to 2 CFR, which is like the management of federal programming. That's one area that we look to when we're looking at eligibility. Sorry, don't know if that answers your question.
The other place?
The other place that we go, federal guidance, we're looking at the final rule. We're looking at reporting and compliance. We're looking at a range of provided guidance from the Treasury and from the federal government for the management of funds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, just looking at a lot of the other projects on the report card, do you see, I know a lot of them you said that there was no concern, but some of them there are low percentages of, do you feel that they can get there? Things look good, because you've been speaking with these groups.
For example, the Boys and, I want to say the Boys and Girls Club. Sorry, I'm going to go
Okay.
back.
All right. Okay.
The Boys and Girls Club, for example, they have a bottleneck. They're waiting on the appraiser. We know that once that appraisal actually, they're going to submit a funding request for the appraiser. So we know that once they get over that hurdle, things will probably pick up.
Okay.
So at this stage, yes, it's 0%, but we're in
Yeah.
communication with this grantee, and we believe at this stage that things will pick up.
So the appraiser, maybe a week or two, are they there within a month?
Sorry, I don't want to comment on that.
That's right.
But it's in the
Okay.
near future.
It's in the works, yeah, because that was for an expansion of their building. Gotcha.
Correct.
I think that one, because I've talked to them as well, when I've seen them, they're in a position where they can probably move rather quickly after they get over that hurdle and have funds committed. And with a lot of the organizations, you know, it might be, so Women of Color says 27% on here, as
Yeah.
Marcel mentioned, they asked for another one, but the communication that they're having, they're indicating where they are with a lot of these projects. So we know they're about to do another project or they're working on a bigger project. Hope and Jones is another one that's trying to work through one project that they have that would be a significant cost. So we know those expenses will be will be committed by the end of the year. We're pretty confident with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially with the one that we're talking about there, Boys and Girls Club, and my assumption, if it was me, I would already have things lined up, ready to go, because when this appraisal is done, you can just get, right out of the gate. So, thank you.
I see George's hand. George gotta wait.
I'm all right for now. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Councilman Copeland.
Thank you. And that's where my questions earlier by email came from. When I look at this and see 0%, I know that there's projects coming along, but by what is being presented to the community may say, well, they ain't doing nothing with their money. What's going on? We know that information, and that's why I was asking, can we get that information? Because we can then present it and share it with you, because they're not going to come to city staff. So with the Boys and Girls Club, are we putting, I know previously we were putting deadlines on some organizations and when they need to submit things. When Boys and Girls Club found out about the appraisal, has it been a month? Has it been 3 months? Has it been 156 days that they knew that our appraisal was needed? Because I find myself, we have another organization that was going forward in the process and now is at a complete standstill because of some things on our end as a city. So I like deadlines and I like anticipations. I know construction is what it is, but if I can have some expected deadlines, I can at least say, hey, so to follow up from my email and my question, if we could possibly have some expected deadlines when it comes down to capital projects for us, just so we can have an idea. It won't be definite in stone. But then to go back to our yearn, we knew a couple of months ago, one of the things that was discussed was students being paid, and that was one of the unconfirmed. And I shared the last meeting, when I see different colors, I get a little nervous. And so how you shared that we use these two federal forms or federal guidelines, those two federal guidelines say that because of how they paid their students, that is what classifies them as unconfirmed. And we have documentation that this is something that we cannot abide by, or is in a gray area that we still need to get additional clarification on.
I've been inviting my team to jump in, but I don't think it's an issue of clarification. I think it's an issue more of documentation, the required documentation to make sure that this expenditure not only aligns with the contract, the stated purpose of the organization, as well as what is required to make sure that it's compliant with the regulations set forth by the Treasury.
And check stubs, what do we count as? Are check stubs what we count as it was paid to the student and it counts, or is there something else we're looking for?
With regard, if we're talking about payroll, there's a bit that goes into it. Number one, who's getting paid? How much are they getting paid? What was the activity? is it signed? What is the date, the time frame? All these elements need to be met for this to be eligible. And if any one piece of that is missing, unfortunately, it's ineligible. And we do this because we're here to look out for the city of Saginaw, in the management of ARPA funding. So it's the federal government, unfortunately. That's the standard, and so that's the threshold.
Gotcha. And for me, I just feel we weren't looked out for because we're at 400,000 and we found out in August. So for me personally, that's where I'm getting
Understood.
I just want to make sure, because I don't have any plans on doing anything. I just want to make sure our mayor has said it. We're not trying to pay anything back.
Understood.
And when we share these things to the community, it looks as if this organization just did not do what needed to be done and handle money properly. And I want to make sure that is not what we are putting out there.
No, I understand, Councilmember. Unfortunately, this was an advancement of $500,000, so everything that's happened, we're sort of reacting to it, you know what I mean? It's not like...
So we gave $500,000 and didn't tell them exactly what they needed to report when it came to
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's not like a funding request. This was an advancement, and so we came back, and then we did sample testing. Okay, we need to see this, this, and this to confirm that this is eligible.
I got you.
That's harder than, you know what I mean, a request, unfortunately.
I got you. I appreciate you.
Yes.
Does too. I think she put her
Yes.
hand up first.
Thank you. Thank you so far. So where does monitoring come in with the different agencies as far as Guidehouse? And I'm sitting here so perplexed that almost every time Guidehouse comes here, I'm faced with different faces. So I don't know how that works. I don't know what you know that the previous people didn't know. I'm just sitting here just kind of like, what do you know that the other people didn't know? I get confused. It's like the turnover is so great with Guidehouse that I'm never talking to the same people every time I get a different report. Every time it's a report made or a presentation made, it's different people, and someone's gone, these people are gone, they left Guidehouse.
That's fair. I'm going to answer your second question first, and then I'm going to revisit your first question, if I may. Unfortunately, Claire lost her father, and she needed time to sort of step away and manage that. So, unfortunately, so sorry to hear about the turnover. I know it's not ideal, but please understand, we're fully committed to the city of Saginaw. That's why we're here. That's why our team is here. And we're going to do whatever needs to be done to make sure you're fully supported. And my contact information is up at the end of this slide. If anyone has a question, please feel free to reach out. You can call, you can email. I'm here to support you. So we're working through this, and we're happy to be a partner with the city. If I can have you reiterate your question regarding monitoring, though.
Monitoring, so have you did monitoring
We have.
for the different agencies? So
Are you speaking within the different agencies within YERN?
Yearn, Boys and Girls Club, any and all?
Yes, it's financial monitoring, so anytime there is either a request for reimbursement or for advancement, we require documentation to sort of take a look, to make sure funding aligns not only with the contract, but also with ARPA guidance. So that's when monitoring takes place.
Can you repeat that, please?
Monitoring takes place with the financial request. So if a grantee is going to request either an advancement or reimbursement, we need to take a look and sort of confirm that either they have an invoice, either there's proof of payment. That's when the monitoring takes place with regards to the subrecipient.
Thank you.
You're welcome. welcome.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for being here tonight. I was just wondering, how many of our recipients received advances for programming?
That's a great question. I am sorry, I'd have to get back to you on that. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. I believe, well, I'm not sure. I tried to do a rough estimate, but I don't want to be wrong. And then I was just wondering, I know I spoke to staff and I asked staff how many times they were able to meet with World Outreach and the various organizations. They said that they were able to at least have 5 meetings. I was just wondering how many meetings, if you were aware, or I know you can't calculate hours necessarily with the way you guys tally your hours, but how many meetings have you guys had? How much effort did Guidehouse put into getting these issues resolved or getting documentation for these expenditures over the course of the last few months?
Absolutely. And again, thank you for your patience because I'm still getting fully up to speed. But I know that that our team has communicated with the parties. I know that Plant Moran, as well as Guidehouse, has also reviewed the documentation, the information. I know that we do every effort to make sure that that request is made. I think the city might have some information on timeline or specifics, I'm not sure. But happy to follow up with you if
Yeah,
not.
please do. They were able to answer me for like their level of involvement on their side, but I was
Absolutely.
going to defer to you on yours. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just have a question regarding unconfirmed. So would you say, looking at this entity, that they would be a risk going forward if we were trying to allocate any money to them anymore, or?
Hey, you're speaking of urine?
Yes, correct, yeah.
Yes, frankly, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because with, so documentation would be like receipts and that, and they're not providing that, or they just don't have them, or what, did they give a reason?
I think it's probably a combination of all of the above.
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to know. It doesn't sit well when we're having that much money being waste and tax dollars money. Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Yes.
There was a report that was given to us, and I noticed there's a bullet here where there was a final deadline for documentation to them, was March 21st of 2024. It's on page 3. But it also says that Guidehouse did receive some additional documentation. Do you know what that was, or? did it
I know
help?
the email of which you're speaking. So we have received some data and documentation.
Right.
Unfortunately, some of the problem, and again, speaking from my limited perspective, is sort of tying the documentation to the expense, making that connection. I think that's why Plant Moran was brought in to sort of tie that out. That's one of the challenges as well.
Yes.
I just want to go back to Mayor Pro Tem Bench's question. How many times did Guidehouse and World Outreach meet? Because I hear Plant Moran met with World Outreach. Guidehouse just said that they were there to remediate and get. How many times did World Outreach and Guidehouse meet to walk through these documents, whatever the new documents that were received, so we all have a clear answer of where they stand?
I think that's a fair question, council member. Unfortunately, I couldn't give you the specific
I got you.
amount. Happy to look into that.
And then my second question is, due to this situation, do we now, and I don't know if we'll ever do advancements again, but is there a process in place outside of just sampling that we can make sure that this may never happen again, that outside of a small sample, we can really catch this beforehand, because they went 3 months of racking up 400,000 as of now.
Yeah, we won't give that much of an advance anymore.
I think that's a simple solution,
This
tailing
is,
the advancement.
this is the big benefit of the capital projects, because they're far easier to manage and to review, monitor, and do the payouts, because you get we see several of these going on right now, capital projects. They turn in the bid, then we give them the payment, and it's done like that. That's the big benefit of these capital projects, and they're easy to get the funds committed, because you get a contract and with a vendor, and then you're done. So we've got a number of those ongoing now, and they don't require advances.
Yes.
I will save you a little bit of follow-up for us. I did get an answer via email that there were at least 8 ARPA recipients that got advances for programming. And I do want to add, I mean, I do believe the process that the staff put together when the consensus of council was that advances needed to be given because a lot of these agencies wouldn't be able to do the work without the advances. I mean, I'm glad to see that at least we were able to catch it and stop it before, because that's a whole nother $2 million that, we have to be concerned about here. So that's a lot.
Yes.
I just have a question. So going forward, since it's such a crunch time, within the 6 months that all the money has to be spent, do you think going forward that we should just maybe do capitalist versus doing program, or would it still be okay to do both?
I think that's a conversation I would like to have in conjunction with the city. I think the simple answer, of course, would be capital. It's a lot simpler. But there's also a lot of organizations that's really doing good work, and they've actually proven that they can spend on the money as well. So, MAC, the name.
I'm just saying because of the timeline. Is there
Understood.
like more, because if there's something new, then they have to go through the review process. I mean, it's kind of crunch time when we don't want to lose that funding.
Absolutely.
We know that this was trial and error, because it's the first time out. Okay, so we all understand. Hopefully, if we get some more money like that, we can do a better thing. We can do like Councilman Copeland was saying. What you tell us, put it on the point system, or whatever he was talking about. So, yes, Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. When compiling all this data, was it asked of each recipient if they were going to have an additional request? So I believe MAC was the only one that had one coming up in June. Was that asked from Guidehouse or just recommended from the recipient?
Thank you, Councilmember. I think that's a great question. We had a lot of conversations in preparation for this presentation with grantees, and what we ask grantees is, what would it be beneficial, what would you like council to know? And some of them, MAC shared that, hey, we have some upcoming funding requests. So we gave them that opportunity to articulate what they felt was top of mind and what council would like to know. So we didn't per se ask that question, which in hindsight probably would have been good, but we did ask them, hey, what was important to get in front of council, and reflected on this.
All right, thank you for that. And then the other thing, I do want to share Councilwoman Lamar Silva's concern that when we were originally given the agreement for Guidehouse, that there were 7 key principles that we were to kind of lean on. I'm sure Jeff and Amanda are still there. David was number 3. And you all are capable people. I could see the letters behind your name. But at the same time, from what I've heard from recipients, some of it is that due to the transition of staff, there may have been some issues just being able to report when we're in this. So the phase that we're talking about, and according to the agreement, is phase 2 implementation, right? Mm-hmm. And so at the end of that phase, that's the compliance part where it's evaluate funding program risk areas, identifying important client priorities, which you talked about, and then implementing controls to reduce risk. That's all been gone through with each recipient, including Jörn?
That's a great question, Councilmember. I think at this stage right now, sorry, please go ahead.
Just to intersect here, when we started talking to the subrecipients, we advised council that we would be doing a risk assessment. Right. And that would create our monitoring plan. So if your risk assessment ranked low, you were gonna have more sampling of the different expenditures. Right. If you had a high risk assessment, then you would have a quarterly assessment of your samples. So that happened. What you're asking actually happened. We met with them, we talked about their budget, we talked about how they fill out their risk assessment, and also gauge like whether they're gonna be high risk or low risk, and then put them on a monitoring plan. So that did occur.
Great, so the controls to reduce the risk were
They
in
were
the
in
monitoring
place.
plan?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
If we go back to our meeting, when I asked that question of our previous guidehouse representative, I asked what was submitted in that risk assessment to make sure that we knew they had the money. And I was told there was nothing, they just answered the questionnaire. And that was my thing, where my biggest question was, how do we remediate that outside of just a questionnaire, that we have actual evidence? Because right now, the unconfirmation is that people aren't submitting evidence. So the city staff is doing that. City staff did it, but we pay Guidehouse over $800,000.
Guidehouse,
So that's my thing.
Guidehouse actually did it, and they did create a Rubik's that you were talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
To assess the risk of each of the subrecipient. So, I mean, unfortunately, we have, what happened with Yearn, but they were on a quarterly monitoring plan. They weren't we weren't monitoring them monthly. Some subrecipients we monitor monthly, and others we monitor on a quarterly basis.
Gotcha.
So,
Yes.
So what made you decide, what was the factor monthly, quarterly?
it was how they ranked on their rubrics, or what their familiarity with federal grants guidelines. That's how it was determined. So if they didn't have a lot of experience with federal monies, then they were probably more on we're gonna monitor you on a monthly basis. If they've had experience with federal funds, especially the uniform grant code, that's a requirement, then you're being monitored on a quarterly basis.
I'll defer to Yolanda because she's been working on it from the beginning. But it also, another thing they had in their guidelines were, if you were on a quarterly review and there was an issue, you could get elevated to a monthly, for instance, a monthly monitoring review. Or they could say, okay, you had a quarterly and we saw this, now we need more backup for these other things. So they have escalation parameters in their monitoring too.
And that's what happened here. They went to the monthly. Right after we found out in August, we started clocking their stuff monthly.
Yes, that's what's happened.
Yeah, you did, they got cut off.
But we will find out how many times they actually met with them later.
Yeah.
Because now, as of August, there should be September, October, November, December, January, February, March. We should have at least 7 to 8 meetings if we're doing monthly or monitoring was not meeting, it was just submitting something. I need the clarification, so I know we're looking around. Just give me, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong.
Right.
But this is serious.
Active monitoring would be while you're doing the expenditures, okay? So once was an issue, then there were no additional funds being put out. So then you're trying to get follow-up documentation to verify or confirm those expenditures. So you're not gonna keep doing monthly monitoring when you're not pushing the funds out, right?
Well, we're missing $400,000, so there should have been a monthly outreach saying, hey, show me papers, right?
I think they did
And
have.
I apologize, Attorney Les, I'm out of order, but we have the integrity of long-standing leaders in our community at stake right now.
That's right.
And for me, I want to make sure whatever I say is facts, not I think, maybe, I want to be sure.
I think that we've got this confused. They're the fiduciaries, okay? They are not the person that administered whatever went on. They were to oversee. And what I'm hearing is we need to get back on subject at hand. When you are the fiduciary, maybe we need to describe what a fiduciary is when we do this, if we get a chance to do this again. So it does not always have to be on the fiduciary, but it is because they're responsible for the reporting. It could have been anybody in that little group they didn't provide the information. We can't point a finger at World Outreach. We just know that they were the fiduciaries, and if we just do it right, we have to look at the fiduciary and then question who and what, and then begin to try to help solve the problem.
That's that part.
Not make the problem worse. This is not a beat me up thing. We all make mistakes. You know, I'm not saying, Lord, I believe in my heart of hearts. I know when I first started talking about this, I kept saying programming was going to be difficult because if you've never done it before, you're not going to be able to do it now. When you talk about federal dollars, we have an obligation, okay? We, all 9 of us, got put up here by the citizens. Now we're talking about going into general funds or wherever we got to get the money from, taking from the citizens. That's not what this was designed for. I'm not trying to bash anybody, get down on nobody, but I think we need to pay attention to, it's not World Outreach was the fiduciary. The question that we need to be asking is, where was the breakdown at with the people that were a part of the urn? Was there a breakdown? And if there was a breakdown, why didn't we stop? We did stop, but think about when we stopped. The program ended in August. And so then reporting was due. So when you talk about 5-6 months we went without, they haven't gotten any money since we gave the advance. My big question is, why we give them so much advance in the beginning? If you want to do something and do it right, I understand. That's why I kept saying, and I'm only one person, it sounds logical in my little pea brain. If you went for capital, you could take your money that you was going to spend on your capital and put it in your programming, and you don't have to deal with us. Because once they put the last nail in, or whatever, you're done. It gets inspected, and it goes through the system. We decided we wanted to do programming. The group decided, and I've got to go into majority. So now, we just got to figure out how we going to fix or what we going to do. Yes, Mr. Which one of y'all had your hand up?
Probably me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
My thing is, where did the, partially of what you said, Mayor, the assistance, where did assistance come in? Was there any assistance offered? Then my next question would be, if that one can be answered, if any assistance was available to help guide this process, World Outreach and Yearn. We keep talking from this table in regards to programming and capital. We decided on both, and we cannot stop in the middle of the wheel and decide that we need programming. Some places didn't need capital. We would be looking at some negative, let me say this the right way. We can't just decide all of a sudden that we're not going to give you any, you got to do all your dollars in capital when you need programming. There's some people that still need programming. Some people may come later and want to change, just like Minister came tonight in regards to wanting to use some dollars, and other entities have come to want to use some of their dollars for programming. All you have to do is make sure it's done correctly, lead and guide them in regards to programming. Everybody doesn't need capital dollars. When they put in for these dollars, they stated what they wanted. And we took those grant applications and we said yes or no. And when they went through the process, we approved that that they could use these dollars, these funding dollars for programming. We can't change and say, oh, no, now all you can do is use this for capital dollars. It would behoove us to be very careful what we say and how we do what we do. That's all I have to say right now.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think we're at the point where we recognize the problem.
Right.
We see the problem. He reported the problem. The organization cannot get any more money until they straighten out the situation.
right.
So us going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth don't really make any sense right now because we know what's up and they're gonna try to get that straightened out. If they don't get it straightened out, they can't get any more funds, point blank. So let's move on to, they can give us another report next month and find out if they got any other receipts for their situation. But other than that, we can't do nothing about it right now, guys.
Right.
So we just hash old stuff right now. So I'd like to make a motion that we move on.
You don't have to
He's
make a
never
motion.
finished.
He offered questions, so we don't need a motion. We can continue
He
with
was
the
just continuing
conversation.
on.
He asked if we had anything to say, and we stopped for a question and answer period. We can move on.
Okay, let's move on.
If that's the consensus of the table, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the rest of it.
Okay.
To the rest of your report, I'm sorry, not the rest of it, I'm sorry.
Okay, moving on then. We want to focus on internal projects. So I'm just going to post this here so you folks can take a look at internal city projects, where they are and the percentage expended to date. I don't know if anyone wants to speak to this.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
This is internal city projects.
These are the projects that you can see right now. For example, this building is full of
Do you have any
dust
questions about these?
for the HVAC system. So,
Cassie answer about the 2% for the fairgrounds?
Cassie has a
Cassie gonna
presentation
do
about the fairgrounds. Yeah, she'll talk about that during her
If we
presentation.
give her a time, we don't get it at 9 o'clock.
okay. So the next part of his presentation is stuff that we approve for the city.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying,
I'm good with that.
okay?
No, I have.
That's what he's saying, yes.
I have a question in regards to the behavioral clinic, and it's expended zero. So what's going on with that?
So, right now, they have not moved forward with the spending of the funds. We're expecting with the grant that we received for the medical district plus this allocation of money, that the monies will be expended next year.
So
Or
they're not
start to
doing
be
anything
expended
this
next year.
Yeah, we're working with,
Don't they have a deadline?
yeah, that has to be committed by the end of the year too, but we are working towards those expenditures.
So where are we right now today? Where is that at?
Right now, today, we're working with a federally qualified healthcare provider that would be able to provide behavioral health services. And we would be spending those funds on infrastructure or hard costs for that building.
Okay, I'll have questions later. I'll need your card.
Yes.
You're looking at that, and I just want to make a comment, because you're right, it says 0%, but it is allocated, so we did that part. It's allocated by the end of the year, so now they got till the end of 2026 to make that 0% become 100%.
Right.
And that's exactly what the manager was saying is coming, yeah. Yep,
For real,
it's allocated and spent.
it's
Yep.
coming.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that, too.
Yes, Mike. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. Has there been any feedback from the success of the hazard pay given to employees? Was there ever like a thank you card or?
What do you mean?
I'd defer to Yolanda.
Hey, didn't nobody come back
Thank
to
you
city
very much.
council? and say,
Yes, yes.
Not a one.
Marcel, in your experience with other contracts, was this kind of what you've seen with other localities for hazard pay, or is this higher or lower?
I can't speak to that, I'm sorry.
No, okay. All right, thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Any questions?
No,
Any questions?
it's 3 times.
Yeah, that's right.
That's 3
Councilman
times.
Boss 3 times, last and final time. Any questions?
3 is the last time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Our next presentation, Cassie Zimmerman is going to provide an update on the Fairgrounds project. So there's a lot of photos here for you to review, and then she can answer any questions you have about it. I think Councilman Flores requested this, so Cassie, go ahead.
Hello, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Sorry you have to see my mug up here 2 council meetings in a row, but I'm gonna go pretty quickly through this. It's mostly just pictures. You all got them before, but I'm gonna give you an update of where we're at. So have any of you been out on the fairgrounds and actually walked the entire property since it's been recently?
Recently.
Okay, so I would invite you to go out there and walk around just a little bit, and I can go with you if you don't feel safe, but it is really a wonderland out there where it looks like exactly the fairground up and left. But thankfully, you guys allocated some money, so we're trying to clean it up. This is a huge property, it's 53 acres. There were these 2 large buildings. That was initially the idea, that this 1.2 million would be able to fund the demolition of those buildings. I do have a video that can show kind of some of the demolition that happened with the grandstands. And I want you to notice kind of the background too when it tilts up. Because you can see in the background, the horse race fence that's around there, some other buildings. There's electrical poles. We've estimated about 80 to 90 electrical poles, other pieces of fencing. There's quite a bit of chain link fencing throughout, and then there's platforms around that horse track area, and then a few other buildings, like I said, throughout that would have been like maybe little concession stands, some stable type buildings, those types of things. There's also, this is the current condition, sorry, of where those 2 buildings stood. There's also fencing along the exterior of the, I'm going backwards. Fencing along the exterior of the building, or of the property, all of that will remain intact. We're not trying to disturb securing the building. We'll make sure that anything that we do take out will be put back in so that the entire fairgrounds property is secured. It's still privately owned by the Housing Commission, so that is important. These are, it's maybe a little bit hard to see up here. This is Weber and Ray Street, just driving on the exterior, so you guys kind of see what the neighborhood is really living with and seeing this. And these are very recent. I took those probably last week or the week before, and this is May. I mean, we're not even fully into the summer yet. So you guys already saw the presentation. I was gonna play a joke on you that I was gonna have you try to read this, but just kidding, I zoomed in for you. So after the demolition of the buildings, which explains in this 2%, so far we have not paid the demolition contractors anything. Spicer is the only person who has been paid through that contract right now. There are construction managers. They've been going through asbestos abatement, inks, they submit everything to them and they do the monitoring essentially that Guidehouse would be doing for us just on this project. They had a few irregularities, but we have now gotten an invoice, so I'll have about $300,000 coming out of that line within the next week or 2 when they cut the checks. And then other things moving along. All of this that I'm now going to talk to you about is in addition, because we did not have to only demo those buildings. Your 1.2 million is actually going to do a lot more for the fairgrounds and hopefully make the neighborhood happy. at least clean it up a little bit and make this eyesore a little bit nicer, a little bit easier to live across from. And then hopefully the ultimate dream is that we will attract a developer, because every dime that we're putting in here is something that would have to be done by a future developer. So we're removing the foundations, these buildings, all of the fences. I mentioned there were a few buildings still up there. You can see them outlined in blue. The balconies are shown on here, and then some other sections of chain link fence. We are also going to be clear cutting around Ray Street and Weber specifically. I did get a quote to clear cut the entire fairgrounds, and it's pretty astronomical. We're really, if we were to clear cut the entire fairgrounds, the city does not own this property. The trees would be growing back. I mean, we're not going to be maintaining it. It really doesn't seem like it's economically good use of this money. Rather, we could clear cut about 30 feet back from both of those roads. There are some foundations right along Weber and Ray Street that I would like to remove. They were past buildings that were demoed. The whole foundation is still there. You can see it. Actually, on Ray Street, or on Weber Street, we're gonna have to tear out the fence because it's built into, it's like growing somehow. I don't exactly understand how that happened, but it's literally in the foundation. So we will remove that portion of the fence and re-put it in. We're also going to treat all of this area so that hopefully it does not grow back as vicious as it is currently. The other portion of this project is the very corner lot that a few years ago, back in like 2015, 2016, Phil Carwatt was working on this project, and thankfully he got a lot of the work done to separate out this portion of the property so that we can purchase it now and preserve that historic fairgrounds gate. So it's pretty small. It's about 1.05 acres, but it's already been portioned off, as I said. The plan for this area is to remove the existing fence around it, re-fence it, brush hog the area, and then do some repairs to the historic fairgrounds gate. These are photos of what it looks like. Again, like last week I took these photos. We won't be taking out, there's beautiful trees and things. It would just be kind of clearing out the brush. And then I'm working with a general contractor as well as a roofer who specializes in the type of material that is used on this roof. It is terracotta, like curved roof shingles. They're really beautiful. So we'll be doing a lot of just stabilizing, painting, re-roofing it, all of those things to help so that this building is buttoned up and we won't have any issues of it further deteriorating, repairing all of that. Okay, that's all I have. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
You said the Housing Commission owned that land? Mm-hmm. And we was gracious enough to give them some money to clear it up. So, can we get the Housing Commission, or do we have any fund? Well, can we build some tiny homes on this land?
The city itself, I'm not sure if the city is interested in being a home developer.
Or the city may not be interested, but the city council is definitely interested.
Okay. Where are those funds coming from,
I don't know who the city is. I thought we was the city, but what I'm saying is, we had money for tiny homes. I think we had $400,000, and I think we sent that money back, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right, Mr. Manager?
We had a block grant program we were allocating, but we were working with a partner. So in this particular property, I think for development like that, we can work with the Housing Commission to try to get a developer like that.
Yeah.
That's probably our best course, rather than having us try to build the houses. So out of the program that you mentioned, we had on block grant, we did lay groundwork with that, and now we have another organization that is planning on continuing that from the groundwork that we did previously.
And where's that at again?
Covenant.
Okay.
Yep, Covenant neighborhood.
So we are gonna build.
They took that project over from us. It's Covenant Healthcare is doing that.
Okay, Covenant Healthcare, okay.
Yep, that's who we were working with on that small small house program.
So that means we can seek grants for the Housing Commission to do something there too at that fairgrounds.
Definitely, yeah, we'd love to, we could have an update from a council member on that sometime.
Okay. Thank you.
Y'all don't play in the sand house. Yes, Councilwoman.
Is it only, this is an addition to what I was gonna ask. Is it just the Housing Commission that could, you could partner with? Could it be someone else besides the Housing Commission?
It's their land.
Well, they're the property
Keep
owners.
in mind, the fairground is the Housing Commission.
But I thought that
Gotta go
that
to-
had to come from up under them because of some HUD
No,
issues or
no.
something.
They got-
Okay,
they
well, anyway,
got to
that's
sell
something
and buy.
else. Thank you. Okay, you were saying something about going out there and walking out there. Is there a lot of, some wildlife out there? Oh,
There definitely is. We saw like trails that deer must walk through. I haven't seen any animals besides birds personally when I was out there, maybe squirrels, but you can see that they're, I mean, yeah, it's a woods,
Okay, I
natural
just
land.
look from
It's
afar.
gone back pretty good to nature.
I look from afar, I don't think I'll be walking. I think I'll be walking. Go at night.
Of course it is.
It's animals.
Thank you very much.
Hold on 1 minute, Ms.
I'll
Cassie.
go with you, keep you safe.
Thanks, Mayor. Speaking of animals, I had deer in my front yard last night on Hoyt Street. But teeing off of what Councilman Balls was talking about, it got me thinking about teaming up with the Housing Commission. If we could put a couple homes on there, could we get HUD to say, all right, some homes we're satisfied, going back and get them to release that property, which then could lead to further development? This is what's going in my head right now. I don't know if it's feasible. To me, it sounds great as
So
an
you
idea,
have-
but how is it on paper?
You have with,
Councilman Copeland can answer that. He sits on their board.
As I've said before, as a housing commissioner, we would welcome the partnership where we work together towards building and capturing those funds. There are a lot of funds that come through that other organizations can benefit from, but Saginaw Housing Authority being the actual housing association for the city of Saginaw, if we may have first dibs in some of those projects, because there's opportunities for us to match federal dollars with those. And I know we support all, but really with us being the housing authority, I definitely support us working together, because what you just shared today, I'm just elated. I'm just elated to hear what we're doing. I said it earlier. I know we on the moves. I'm just thankful to hear this.
Handle it.
All right, thank you.
Handle it.
Cassie, I have a
I
question.
think we need to keep in mind, when we did that big budget cut, programs got separated. Housing Commission, it says Saginaw Housing, but it's not the city of Saginaw. It's in its own little nest. And so, if we recall, when we first started this project, me and the city manager and staff and Dan Kildy's office, we met with the Housing Commission then trying to get this done. This was the first ARPA project that we passed. And we had to beg them to sign off, or beg them to get the information for us to tear down what we doing now.
So good now.
Not us, the federal HUD department.
Okay, well, federal HUD,
HUD.
if somebody giving me $1 million something, I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to get the job done.
And it's done.
And I'm not gonna duck them.
It's done. It's done. Let's move on.
All right, so, any questions for Ms. Cassie?
I just have one. Cassie, have you been interacting with the neighborhood groups in that area to see what they want to do with the property?
Yes, I have.
Yes, Lord Jesus.
Do you want me to go into more detail? I've presented everything to them. I've been to their last 2 meetings, and then I went to one back in maybe November or something at the end of the year. So I have been sharing this. I also regularly talk with Juanita Drake, who is the president of the Fairgrounds Association. This is not their proposal that they submitted through the ARPA portal. They had wanted this to be more of a community park. The city does not have the capacity to handle this large of a park. Ultimately, the neighborhood would like to continue and build off of this 1 acre and maybe purchase an additional acre. I did share with them what the city's paying is $12,000 for that acre. That is market value. So there's potential to continue working with them, and I will, to hopefully get them closer to what they want, but they're fully aware of the project.
So any other questions?
So
Yes.
so they're not looking to have tiny houses or any other houses?
I think that they would be open to anything, anything to be developed in here, but they do also really want a neighborhood park somewhere in the fairgrounds. And so this is seen as an opportunity for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I can add on to that a little bit too, Councilwoman. I'd seen their plans before. It was about a $12 million project with, for the park with baseball diamonds, walking trails, a pond. But the problem was the property is owned by the Housing Commission and there's the HUD debacle. So they could never move the project forward too. They spoke at some meetings about that. Thanks.
I got something on that too, Councilman. I got that money from Wanagas Credit Union for those plans.
Okay,
Okay,
come on with it.
let's go.
Y'all do
I think
y'all
we got a
thing.
plan going in here. See some smoke rising.
Make it happen, all right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Manager,
Well, that concludes the management update.
Yep.
no questions. I'm sorry, did anybody have any questions of the city manager?
No, I just want to say I was reviewing the budget and some of the new positions that we're adding, as well as that community engagement role. I'm just really happy to see that and see our city staff seeing that we have Cassie in this role, going to these community meetings, and I'm just glad to see it. I'm thankful to see it. I know we, as city council members, we go and to all of these things, but it's just happy to see that the city is getting additional support and getting some of the staffing that is needed so we can, and it shows that we're working, we're trying, but now money's coming in and we're able to do some things. So as I'm always gonna say kudos to our city staff because of what you all are doing, especially in this hot space. We got air tonight, but whatever you guys are doing.
No questions of the manager? Madam Clerk?
Takes us to the consent agenda.
The consent agenda has been available at City Hall and on the city webpage on SGTV Channel 191. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, leaving room for exceptions.
So move.
Support.
Do we have any exceptions? Hearing no exceptions, call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk,
We're at board, commission, and committee reports.
do we have any boards or commission reports? Madam Clerk.
We are at ordinance adoption. We have one on the agenda. It's to amend section 12.042, Citizen Police Advisory Commission of Chapter 12, Boards and Commissions of Title I Administrative Code of the City of Saginaw Code of Ordinances O-204.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Oh, second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
The next item is resolutions. The first one is establishing an obsolete property rehabilitation certificate at 122 South Hamilton Street.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Our second resolution is approving the establishment of a sister city with Barrie, Ontario.
I need a motion to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by nay. Madam Clerk.
Our next resolution is approving the fiscal year 2024-2025 proposed budget and property tax millage.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved. Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Madam Clerk.
Our next resolution is approving the special assessment district for a police and fire millage for fiscal year 2024-2025.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyone object, nay, with nay, okay? Madam Clerk, Lord.
Do you want to take the aye?
Aye.
Yes. And no nay. Motion
You
approved.
know what, I'm sorry.
Our next resolution is approving the request of the Downtown Development Authority to levy a 2 mil tax on all real and tangible personal property not exempt by law and as finally equalized in the Downtown Development District for fiscal year 2025.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Our last resolution is authorizing the use of amplifying equipment on Johnson Street during the 2024 Memorial Cup presented by Dow event on May 21st, 2024 through June 2nd, 2024.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk,
Takes us to miscellaneous business.
do we have any miscellaneous business? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I had one motion to adopt the resolution allocating ARPA funds to the Saginaw Community Foundation for the benefit of and as fiduciary for TD Holding Jail and Prison Ministries Incorporated in the amount of $740,000 for eligible programming or capital expenses for the Come Out, Stay Out Workforce Development Program.
Second.
It's been moved to second. Discussion. I need to, yeah, I'm sorry, come on.
I'm a little late, but I just got it before I started. Was this sent? I was reviewing it from what we got right now, and it has a little red flag in there. And has that been addressed? Has that been, it's point 3 in the opera recommendation information. Has that been addressed?
Under the notes.
Him.
No, that has not been addressed yet.
Can we let him speak?
I was gonna ask the question, could we let them come up and answer?
Yeah.
Mr. Manager, is that okay?
Yes, he asked.
Evening, Mayor, and this honorable body. Andrew Sicoli from Guidehouse. I believe the item in question is the, regarding the indirect costs. I was in contact with Mr. Irwin today, and he submitted an updated budget, so that line could be removed. That's been addressed.
Just a clarification question too. Have you talked to the community foundation regarding, because the allocation is to the fiduciary then?
Yeah, we have not spoken to Community Foundation directly. It was with Mr. Irwin from Come Out, Stay Out.
So, let me ask the question. How are we moving forth with a motion and we don't have a fiduciary? We have a person, I guess it's in the air. If that's what I'm hearing, you haven't made any contact with Saginaw Foundation to say yes or no?
Last week, I said I can answer any questions. I was put in contact with Mr. Irwin, and so that's when I met with him this morning, and he had specific questions about the budget that was received. It seemed like he was the one to develop that budget, so I answered those questions, and now that they meet the indirect cap requirements.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's incumbent upon the organization to have the fiduciary contact us, similar to the example we have here would have been the NABE worked with Movement Strategies. So Movement Strategies contacted us, and then if you recall, we changed the allocation to Movement Strategies. So this would be an allocation to the Community Foundation, right?
Yes.
Just want to make sure we have that info.
Yes, Councilman Copeland.
I'm just being honest. I need the community foundation here. Like, I need them, I need a confirmation from them that we're good to go. And Councilman Balls, you please share.
Well, for them to make that recommendation that the community foundation is gonna be part of it, I'm sure they talked to the community foundation. They wouldn't just do that without talking to the community foundation. And if they didn't, it's all about just getting a fiduciary, and I'm sure they have talked to them. So that's not an issue.
Yes.
How much of the 740,000 is capital versus programming? And I guess where are we at with our guidehouse contract and how much we've spent out of the 850,000? Because we're in May now, end of May, and I think that for programming, it would be like December would be their first reporting period, potentially, or very close to the end of the year with that allocation deadline. That's just a really large sum of money to allocate to programming, in my opinion, for this close to the end of the deadline.
Just point of information, there's a packet provided for the budget.
Say that again.
There's a packet provided to everybody for the budget for the programming and other.
Right, and we just received it
We
right
just
before
got
the
this
meeting,
today.
so.
Yeah, I can't speak, I know there is a portion that is for capital expenses and another portion for programming, and staff salaries as well. I don't have the exact breakdown of that, but there is a mix of that in between both of those. And there hasn't been a risk assessment done yet because obviously this program hasn't been approved yet. But yet that cadence of checking in and doing the monitoring will be based off of that risk assessment once that's completed.
So this is a question for Yolanda. Give me 1 minute. Yolanda, when is the risk management done? After we sign contracts, after everything is done, or when?
Once you approve the allocation, that's when Guidehouse will start working with them on getting the agreement with them as well as compiling the risk assessment.
Okay. I'm sorry, Councilman Copeland.
And I just want to make sure we're just being equitable in everything that we're doing. I know previously, all the other ones we voted on, if we got it for the day of, council members asked for more time to review it. Also, motion, but then also, when we look at the other programmings that had fiduciary support, did they have to provide any documentation that showed that that fiduciary was going to be in support in the documents? Was there a letter of support? Was there anything that anyone with an outside fiduciary, and that I support this and what's going on? I just want to make sure in my voting, I'm equitable and consistent, and that all that information has been provided, just like others, before I vote.
Yeah, like I said, I have not spoken directly with the fiduciary. I believe somebody at the city staff has, but I have not seen confirmation of that agreement.
I can maybe shed a little more light on that. I do know from experience with the accounts that the city has with the Community Foundation, anybody they serve in a fiduciary capacity for, they enter into a fiscal sponsorship agreement. So we at the city, if we haven't seen it yet, we would have to see that before entering into the actual ARPA contract, the subrecipient contract with SCF.
I support it. I just want to make sure all documentation is in place before I vote yes.
Any other questions? Yes.
Do we know if there will be an advance required for the 740,000 as far as programming goes?
Those specifics haven't been discussed with Come Out Stay Out yet.
Okay.
I just want to say, I don't have a problem with get out, stay out. I don't have a problem with that at all. It's just too many unanswered questions. And I would like to see it tabled until the next meeting or until we get some clarification. That's just me again. I'm one vote. And I don't have a problem with it. The problem I have is I got all of this in front of me tonight. And now I guess I'm real woozy or leery because I've heard the word, we're not sure if their foundation will do it. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's not gonna make that much of a difference if we gonna pass it. It still got time to get through. That's just me. I'm only one vote.
Can I postpone it?
Any other questions? Yes.
I'm sorry, maybe I heard you. Was anybody able to give me an answer about where we are with our spending? Because obviously the more money we allocate to programming, especially new programming, that requires more monitoring. There's been a lot of concern about how much over the 850 or how close we are to the 850.
Yeah, I believe, based off current spend rates and what's left in the contract, there's about 3 months? Yeah, late July, early August.
Okay, and then we have 2 more years of programming
That we got paid
before our the final ARPA deadline. Okay. I would like to make a motion to postpone this until we can receive answers to all of the questions that were posed tonight.
Got a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, let me go back. It's a motion, it's been second, discussion. Right, Madam Clerk?
Correct.
Okay. Yes.
But like, I think Get Out, Stay Out is a fantastic program. I think that I don't have any concerns. I would just feel comfortable, especially with everything we've learned tonight, if we were able to have confirmation that we have a fiduciary who's signed on, if we can get confirmation of, just how much is programming, what are we looking at? Are we sure that this programming money is going to be spent, within the deadlines and things like that? That's where I'm coming from. But otherwise, I really don't have a problem with the program at all. It's more just feeling like we need to make sure our due diligence is done, because we did just get this large packet, we're like right when we came into council and sat down, so.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just point of information for the total guidehouse expenditures for your agreement, it was $669,195. 79% of it has been spent since February 3rd. But that's all.
You done? Okay, so now, any other questions?
I just want to make a comment. I'm going to refrain from voting because I have a conflict of interest with the group, so.
Okay. Okay. So, any other questions? Yes, I'm sorry.
You do have to disclose what the conflict is.
I work with the youth organization. I work with Come Out, Stay Out. I'm a mentor with the prisoner program, not with the prisoner program. We mentor the prisoners when they get out, and we mentor the children while they are at home.
Okay, he gave his reason.
Correct.
Okay. So now we're gonna vote on the
postpone.
On the postponement.
Yep.
Can you read it again, please, Madam Clerk?
Yep, the motion was to postpone until we receive answers to questions that have been asked this evening.
There's a motion on the floor. We're gonna call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? I'm with the ayes.
You're still under miscellaneous business.
Okay. Okay. Now, there's another motion on the, okay, that's D.
Yeah, because you postponed it.
Yep. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion. We done with that, right? Okay. I'd like to make a motion for the Saginaw African Cultural Festival to spend $50,000 of their capital dollars for programming dollars to use for the Charles McNair Freedom School of Saginaw.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Did y'all hear the motion?
I heard it.
Okay.
Yes.
Any discussion? Yes.
It was my understanding that the 200 and I think 28, forgive me if I'm wrong on the number, $1,000 that we gave in capital was actually like needed for capital for the African Cultural Festival. Because I don't know, I support the Charles McNair program. I don't have any problem with them having extra money, but I'm afraid that we might be hamstringing them if they've already allocated in their budget, you know, that full amount towards, because they were pretty consistent in that being a capital expenditure, but I think Councilman Copeland looks like he knows what I'm talking about more than I do.
We're requesting in addition to. If the youth and development wouldn't mind giving us a little bit more. Just feeling nice. That's why I was looking, I was like, wait, no.
That's not what I understood that.
Okay, gotcha.
That's not how it read, what I read, so,
So they asking
Somebody
for
else.
additional on top of what they got. And so,
okay.
is your motion changed?
My motion would change. My motion would
But
change.
I don't think it can be done that way. This motion.
There has to be a motion to amend.
Yeah, there was a motion and a
Okay.
second, the way she worded it already.
Okay.
So who would have to amend it?
I'll make a motion to amend the original motion to have it be $50,000 allocation in addition to the 228,000, or whatever the amount was in capital, dollars that they've received.
Second.
It's been moved. Do I have a second?
That's second.
Discussion. Yes.
I will be abstaining because I work as the program director.
Is that a paid position?
The way, it's safer for me to do it this way just because of contracts and stuff. It would be safer for me to do it this way. In the instance that it comes up again, I'd just rather be safe.
But is that a conflict
So
of
because
interest?
I'm technically getting paid to do it, but I'm an executive on loan. And some of my costs may be covered, some of my training costs. So right now, it would be best for me just to.
Thank you for clarifying it, yes, thank you.
Again, I don't have a problem with the program. I think the program is going to be a viable program. However, I'd like to postpone it. The program is not scheduled to start tomorrow. And we still, yes, ma'am.
But it behooves us to do it now because it is getting ready to start before our next, meet. It's really real close.
We go to training next week.
Yes, it is, yeah, before our next meeting.
Any other questions? There's a motion on the floor. Madam Clerk, can you read it again, please?
So we would be under the amendment, which was to amend to, in addition to previously allocated ARPA funds. 1,000 is in addition to.
Okay. There's been an amendment on the floor. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Okay, so you're back to the main, which is to allow Saginaw African Cultural Festival to use the 50,000 of programming for capital for the Charles McNair Freedom School. That's with the amendment that it's in addition to previously allocated funds.
I thought that's what we did. In
No,
addition.
you voted
It's
on
on the amendment.
amendment. It's a motion to amend. You
Right.
voted on that, now you're back to your main.
Okay, main
The
motion.
main.
It's been moved to second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Is there anything else? Any other miscellaneous business? Hearing none. I need a motion to adjourn, and please sit still until we do
So
this.
moved.
Second.
It's been moved to second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. Everybody have a good week.